What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back with
Gersh1
to answer more questions that you guys have left in the question section, which is known as the comment section, because this is a for the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what Gruff Bevins did. If the supposedly loyalist archangels are actually the chaos ones, do you think they could be holding the lion prisoner? Yes, in your scenario, 100% yes. So, because Luther was supposed to be the bad guy, and then there was the fight, and then he went into the Eye of Terror, and then I'm pretty sure there were some dark angels that followed him, it would make sense that other double crossers stayed back, and they somehow, turned the loyalists into traitors by corruption, and then it turns out that the ones hunting Luther in the warp are now relabeled as the fallen, and the bad guys are killing the good guys, and the lion is stored away inside the rock.
Mm-hmm.
How Space Marines would do that, I don't know.
Right. Everything that revolves around the Dark Angels is very secretive. I mean, look at Cypher, the fallen angel. If we're to believe his name is like a means of what the storyline will be looking like, just look at the fallen angel in religion, Lucifer. He was an angel up with like God, chilling, and then his descent.
He's like, nah, I'm evil now.
That's exactly what happened.
That comes from the Bible.
Yeah. What is it? Jacob 24:13.
For sure. Yeah.
Is that a book? That's a magazine.
But yeah. So then, if Cypher is then the bad guy, why do you think he's helping Gilliman and he's helping all these other people?
Because he wants to be the good guy that he was. And he's trying to gain favor from the Emperor by saying, "Look, I'm helping Gilliman. I'm a good guy again." And
he gets close enough to stabby stab.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in the book of...
It's like, look, I'm evil.
That is the sign that you're evil. Stab.
We answered your question, correct?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, is there a possibility? Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because there, like I was saying, there's the whole, are the fallen the actual bad guys, or maybe that's just a twist that Chaos is actually putting out there, and it's like we don't know, because if it does turn out that the lion is just sleeping, why hasn't he woken up? Like, there's been so many instances where the Dark Angels could have used his help, not just that, but just the Imperium in general. You have Gilliman basically trying to lead the Imperium with the help of Dante from the Blood Angels. It's like, well, wouldn't another Primarch be that help? And why hasn't he come and woken him up? If he knows where the lion is, like Lionel Johnson should be woken up to help.
Yeah. And also another thing that I was just thinking about, it is very poetic to have like the First Legion be the good guys being the bad guys who are actually good guys, and then the 20th Legion on the other side being the double crossers, the bad guys actually being good guys.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's probably what it is, because in Roman numerals, double cross 2x, that's 20, that's 20th Legion, Alpha Legion.
Yep. Yeah. So that would be cool.
Yeah, it would be, yeah. Pero a ver qué pasa. Probably nothing.
No.
This one is by Shinku Kiritu Ichika. What if the Emperor found out about Lorgar's pilgrimage, probably with Magnus's help, and sees that they've become followers of Chaos? Would they be dealt with?
If who?
The Emperor found out about Lorgar's pilgrimage.
Oh, by that point, the Horus Heresy had already erupted, I think.
And if it wasn't, that's too far gone.
Yeah. Or like the Emperor was already like tied up with the what was he trying to build? The Webway project, or the destruction of the Olenor Crusade.
And he goes on
Empire.
to say, yeah.
Go.
No, I'm not gonna let you finish anymore. He goes on to say, what would happen if the word bearers were indeed vanquished?
I don't think much, because they're Chaos Undivided, and like they haven't played a major role in very many.
Yeah. Even now, I don't remember a time when word bearers were good, like on the tabletop.
Right, and then you can make the argument, oh, what about the Imperial Creed and like the Book of Lorgar? That was written before.
Yeah.
So it could have easily been like pushed along by some chaos worshiper. It doesn't have to be the word bearers.
True. And then he finishes off by saying, I know the ones to turn rogue would have been the World Eaters and the Night Lords. Maybe also the Iron Warriors.
Yep.
I could see the Night... Well, not the Night Lords, but Conrad Kurz, I could see him being, like, going rogue. Because obviously he had the visions of, like, what was to come. And he knew, like, that wasn't what, you know, his brothers
wanted. Yeah.
And he also hated his legion. Like, they were all a bunch of criminals made Space Marines. So...
Also, Fulgrim, I feel like Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children, like, that's just straight perfection. That's like egotism, narcissism. I could see them falling, like, from the beginning.
Yeah. World Eaters going rogue. I mean, I feel like they would go against the Imperium, yeah. And I could also see them going to Chaos too if it would help them go against the Imperium some more. Especially with all the trauma that the freaking Emperor did to Angron.
The difference, though, is that the World Eaters definitely have a patron, which is
Khorne.
And he wanted them. And when Khorne wants you, he's going to have you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like that guy at the bar who's 6'3" and rich.
Batman?
Batman. Next question.
This one is by Urza Swan. What are some of the weakest weapons on the tabletop? Like, lore-wise? Not lore-wise, but...
Even if it's the tabletop, anything that the Tau... Any close combat weapon that the Tau uses.
I mean, they got a freaking, like, puñetazo, like...
I know, at strength 3 -1 if you roll a 1 or something.
No, they actually have, like, a... What's it called? It's something gauntlet. That, like, it's like a strength 10, but it's only a 1 hit.
Like one-time use?
No, like, you only get 1 attack with it.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
But, I mean, they hit 50% of the time, so...
With fire, right?
No, it's a melee.
Really? What's their BS?
Well, their BS is also 4-up. So they hit and they shoot at the same...
I'm sorry,
weapon skill? I'm pretty sure it's a 4-up.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Gretchen have pretty weak guns, too.
Aren't they literally just like revolvers?
Yeah. I think they're strength 2.
Really?
I think so.
Dang.
Because you have to roll a 6. And 2 on anything is going to be a 6. Really.
Yeah. There are some gimmicky weapons that don't have a strength, but that always wound on like a 4-up, kind of like the Dark Eldar poison stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there are weapons that are legit weak, but there's always a twist to it, except if you're a Gretchen.
But I think every single faction has one of those weapons that's just kind of like, why? Like,
why would I use this? Yeah. But it's interesting, though, because I feel like when you think of a standard weapon, like the Bolter comes to mind.
Yeah.
And that's standard in like 40K terms, but like that is crazy, like in our, day and age.
Yeah.
That's like having a 50 caliber like handgun that shoots, what is it, semi-automatic?
Well, that's the cool thing, I guess, about 40K is that none of the standard weapons are standard to today's day. Because, like, even las pistols, we don't have las pistols.
Right.
Yeah. Next question comes from Connor Smith. Gersh 1, do you only need glasses when you wear the beanie, or would it be the piercing that ruined your eyesight rapido? Oh.
Yeah, I just got what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You tell me.
Yep. The beanie triggers my my eyesight, yes. Next question.
Like, forces you to hacky sack before videos, right?
Yep. And it makes me make... No, never mind. Yes. This question comes from Heron Royer. Who is the third member of One Mind Syndicate? Because on 2113, that's not Gershwan.
It is. You just gotta look closer.
Yeah. And there was a third member of OMS one time.
Which was you. You just had like a mirror and like smoke.
I would talk.
Yeah.
It's like that Vine. You remember the Vine where it's just like, the dude's like, you going, man? Or I can't remember.
Yes, I remember that vine.
Yes.
This one's by Pilloid. Is every human psyker powerful enough to easily become a space marine?
No.
Not at all. I mean, you could be a human psyker and be like, oh, you think I'm the best, no one can take me on. But to become a space marine, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be a super powerful psyker too, and if you're a woman, you can't.
That's true. You have to be a male to become a space marine.
Yeah. And then you guys wonder why they want to take or remove that.
That is true. But yeah, to become a space marine, it's like, what, 0.001% chance?
Yeah. If they got you at the right moment.
Yeah, that's true. But there was a time, I forgot what his name was. Was it Canis Wolfborn? There was a child, a feral child, who survived in the wilderness of Fenris, which is like impossible. Who made its way to the Fortress Monastery, and fought a space marine and won.
A child.
Yep. Beat was he? I'm pretty sure he was armored, right?
Yeah, probably.
Even if he wasn't armored, a child beat a space marine.
That's why sometimes when you look at like Space Wolf lore and just Space Wolves in general, they are very corny. Very corny.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know. It's badass because it's like all Viking space marines, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. There's like something to it.
I am convinced that like children are the ones that play Space Wolves because we were children when we started playing Space Wolves.
Yeah. This next one is by Hernan Ferreras. I don't say Hernan because there's like a little line on the A.
Yeah.
So Hernan, right?
Hernan.
Why do you think that Primaris don't get corrupted? In parentheses, yet. I understand that they're still very young. I mean, they were created about 4 years ago. So it might be a little too soon for GW to do that.
Yeah.
Well, when they first came out, it was supposedly said that they were uncorruptible. They were perfected by Belisarius' call. And then they took a few steps back. They're like, well, you know what? No. They could still have gene seed deficiencies such as the red thirst, the wolf, and if they're black dragons, they still get the mutated like bone sword things.
Yep.
So with that being said, everybody pretty much assumed, well, if that's the case, then they should be able to fall to chaos. Because even if you are perfect, chaos will prey on you when you're at your weakest. And chances are they can't all be psycho-indoctrinated to the point that they could resist a god's temptation.
Yep. And I think the reason that initially it started that way, or they wanted him to be pure, is because Belisarius' call was working off of the template of the Emperor. Mm-hmm. So whereas like Gene Seed nowadays is a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, whereas like Belisarius was like getting it directly from the source. The old journals of wait, weren't they built on the moon? I think so.
Was it the moon?
Because like the moon is supposed to be like a like they mess with DNA and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Check out our 40 facts on the moon. I can't really remember too much, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people were saying that, you know, the template, the construct of a space marine is created by the Emperor, so that's deemed as like holy. And to have Belisarius call, tinker, and mess with it, and create a new space marine that they deemed as perfecting the older model, that's heresy. Because it's like you're saying, oh, this thing that the Emperor created is holy. Well, you're transferring it into something else. You're tinkering with things that God did not intend. Kind of like alchemy and all that, changing one thing to another. Who are you to say you're better than God's original thought and creation?
Yeah. Even though now we can do that, right? It's just not stable.
Right.
This next question comes from Margot517. What would happen if Be'lakor became a fifth Chaos God?
He'd essentially take the place of Malice, which is chaos.
Against
chaos, yeah.
The problem is that he would have a model, and no Chaos God's supposed to have a model. Like,
That's true.
What would a greater demon of Be'lakor look like? Be'lakor?
Right. Although that model is beautiful.
It is.
The one gripe is I think his wings are too big.
It's never too big. It's probably like they'll break easily. That kind of sucks.
I think it falls under the whole, how do I transport this model?
Yeah.
Unless you like magnetize it.
You have to, yeah. Magnetizing and getting those big bins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Or you could just put them in your passenger seat and put a seatbelt on them.
Like they did with Mortarion.
Mortarion.
Next question.
Diudone Cabella. Can you have a Catan that is a fusion of 2 or more shards? And if so, how powerful would it be? So, that hasn't been done. But when you take a shard of a Catan with another shard of the Catan and combine them together, it's stronger than the sum of its parts. So, say you have 2 Nightbringer shards, you put them together. That one Nightbringer would be stronger than having the 2 separate shards fighting.
So it'd be really strong.
Right.
Catan.
And if you were able to fuse 2 together, because whenever you combine fragments of a Catan, they're learning more about who their original body was. That's why the stronger the Catan is, the more powers they know, the more difficult it is to contain and control, because they're getting more sentience, more strength, more godhood. So that's going to be way stronger to control than what they used to be.
Yeah.
And if you combine 2 together, that's going to be crazy.
That showcases how like the War in Heaven story and like the Necrons destroying or shattering the Catans was badass.
Mm-hmm.
It took big moves for the Silent Kings to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's another animation that I wish GW would make. Like
the War in Heaven. Yeah, for sure.
Having these like weapons of like untold power fighting against near god entities. That's pretty cool.
Really cool, yeah. This next question comes from Bunny Hop. Can the Loyalist Primarchs win against the Chaos Primarchs even though they've been strengthened by the Dark Gods?
That's the same like idea as like, why do Space Marines always beat Chaos Space Marines? Because aren't they just Space Marines with more powers?
Yeah. And usually the answer is like, oh, it's usually like one Chaos Space Marine versus a group of Space Marines. But in this situation, the Loyalists usually have some type of buff.
Mm-hmm.
So Gilliman has the sword and his armor.
Plot. Plot armor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, oftentimes when you're reading a book or you're reading a battle, it's in the perspective of the Space Marine, and it's like, of course they're gonna win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always felt that should be a losing battle. Because in terms of tiers, it should be like Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine, Primaris Marine, and then Greater Demon or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's not. Because if you put a regular Chaos Space Marine against a Primaris Marine, it's like the Primaris Marine washes them.
Yeah. On the tabletop.
Right.
Yeah. First name, last name says Valentina or Tapatio.
Growing up, it was always Valentina. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't like spicy stuff. But Tapatio's not bad.
Yeah, growing up, I liked Tapatio. Now I prefer Valentina, the black label.
Ooh. Like to me, when I think hot sauce, I think of that big, like, Valentina bottle.
Yeah, yep.
And you're putting it on, like, what are those things called?
Chips.
Chicharrones?
Oh, chicharrones, yeah. With limon and pico de gallo. Next question.
William Prevost. Why hasn't any Demon Primarch or Chaos Primarch killed and replaced Abaddon? Besides, of course, plot armor. In my opinion, if I were a Chaos God, I'd rather have a badass Demon Primarch leading Chaos than some scrubby former second in command. Youch.
So what exactly is this question?
Why hasn't, like, the Chaos Gods bestowed enough power to, like, a greater demon to kill Abaddon? Because wouldn't it make more sense to have, like, a demon leading Chaos than, like, a former, like, follower of Abaddon?
Horus.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple. Because the moment Nurgle decides to do that, Khorne, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch will gang up on him, and so on and so forth. And it just becomes this vicious cycle of, at the end, they're just like, well, you know what? Let's keep him there for now. At Chaos Undivided. And it's easier to control him because we all have a say in it. Whereas if we were all trying to control Karn, or we were all trying to control Lucius the Eternal, that would be more difficult for the gods that don't empower him.
Right. Because Chaos is a wheel. At no one point will one ever have more power than the other.
Yeah. or it'll constantly be changing. Yeah.
In flux.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'd rather have one that's undivided than Nurgle, Slanesh, Zeech, etc.
Yeah. And plus, they're smart. Chaos Undivided is they know how to like maneuver their way through.
And they're like, well, why don't we all put all our power into one guy? And it's like, oh, well, then he'll lead. Look what happened with Be'lakor. He tricked him. He's like, oh, you guys give me all the power. Cool. I'm not going to listen to any one of you. It's all mine.
Yeah. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
That's right. This has been the Sound Alchemist.
Gersh1.
And we are out.
Oh, what a beautiful